Everyone, this is FDL again, and I have another deck tech today. This time I'm gonna show you the deck I played at the World Championships this year. I attempt to qualify in the Asian qualifier, and I didn't make the cut, but I still think my deck was a good choice. I ran into some bad matchups that I did not foresee, and otherwise it performed good what I thought it would perform well. So deck is based on Gravebone. A long time ago showcased an undead Gravebone, and this time it's a Pheonix Urigon Gravebone. This particular deck was designed initially by Bobway, who he took it to a very high rating last season. Was it 21 or 22? He was top 5 in the rating ladder. It's pretty good, and I've had good experience with it. I tweaked it from his original version. He runs Dakrat and Harbinger, and he has more of a discard and Dakrat team going. Whereas I, in discussions with both Bobway and Bugs, I ended up going with the more fire-themed version with Pheonix Urigon and Flameborn Defiler. So yeah, Pheonix is a 2/4 for 4 that has the ability to basically when he dies, if he's not a blaze when he dies, he comes back to play as a 3/5 and he's set ablaze, so he has 2 lives. A lot of the decks, like the mid-range Shadow Era decks, they're designed to kill 4 and 5 HP allies, right? So you want to combo your 2 attack Gargoyle with your Zaladar Zap and things like that. And this deck is designed to completely devalue all your opponent's damage sources. So and also the removal. You can't really trade 1 for 1 with Pheonix because it comes back unless you can exile it or shuffle it in the deck. Other cards that are in this vein, you have Grimghast, which reduces opposing allies' attack by 1, makes it harder to combo for a kill. Acolyte, which is a 2/5, but if I could, Acolyte and Grimghast would be Gargoyles 5, 6, and 7. Like, this guy is a real deal. Reduces all damage by 1. So unlike Grimghast, who only reduces combat damage. But Grimghast reduces damage that's dealt to other targets than itself, so it's also quite good. But yeah, Gargoyle makes, you need something to kill it with Fireball. You need 6 damage if you're gonna kill it with a Lightning Strike and an ally. So pretty good defensive ally. So basically you want to play your tough guys, the 3-drops and and Pheonix, to run your opponent out of removal and then take over with and then you also have Gravebone's ability, which allows you to put those tough guys back in play. So yeah, basically you run your opponent dry and then you take over. Other allies are Ironhide Karash, another tough little guy, 2/2, can be pretty offensive with if you go Karash, Krygon. Actually, I should probably run 2 Krygons and only 1 DMT. Yeah, they have the same role. That you have tough guys that survive, like Gargoyles and Pheonix. So having pingers to take out their 4 HP or 3 HP guys to go along with them is pretty neat. Let's go with 1 and 2 like that. So that's, yeah. I have well, Cultist is there as supplemental draw, and sometimes you want to drop a Defiler or Urigon or maybe even a Gargoyle against like Zaladar in your graveyard on turn 4, then either revive it on turn 4 or set up a Supernova on turn 5. Flameborn Defiler is a 4/5 for 5. We don't see him in a lot of decks, but I think this is pretty much his best shell. the important part is the immunity to fire damage. So you can Supernova while he's on the board and he'll stay on the board. He also makes all your fire damage make their target ablaze. So basically Supernova can kill 6 HP allies. When Pheonix Urigon comes back as a 3/5, he has fire damage. Grimghast also has fire damage, but those two are really like niche uses. I don't really use it. There's also Fireball. Fireball gives you can now kill 5 HP allies if you have a Defiler out. Is very good against mages. So my first targets, my main targets here were Zaladar and mages, because they have damage-based removal, and you know mages have Fireball and Supernova as their main burn cards, and Defiler is immune to both. Defiler is immune, and then Karash, you know, basically makes them a 1-for-2 in your favor. Yeah, and the reason I preferred this to you know, the Dakrat plan is that you can make insane Supernovas. If you have a crippled Defiler or Urigon, you know, their ability are still active. Reviving crippled Urigons is like absolute. it's the dream. It's the jackpot. And yeah, so it's very Supernova centric. You can be very aggressive if you go Karash, Krygon, Urigon, and then send everything in the face. Supernova. You can deal a lot of damage and then close out the game very fast with the rest of your burn. Or you can be much more controlling if you go defensive, Lightning Strike, you know, defensive Fireball, and just build up a board and you know, run your opponent out of removal. What have I not talked about? I like Tome of Knowledge a lot in this deck. As soon as you get to 5 and 6 resources, you basically draw a card every turn. I still have one Amulet. I don't like it early game. I'm gonna sack it if I see it before turn 7. But with, you know, 12 burn cards and Krygon, the ability to just dig for a finisher is pretty neat. I think Bob runs Cyclam, but that's mainly for his Dakrat. To free him, it's not needed here. We just Nova, wipe everything clear. So, yeah, defensive Gravebone. Well, it's a defensive offensive. It can be both. Pretty nice deck. Very good against, like in the World Championships. I ended up round 1. I faced Zana, and well, it's a pretty even matchup. I ended up taking over with the Urigons. Like Zelzim work, but Tidal Wave is pretty weak against a board of Urigon, and then you can pop back another ally once they've played it. Then round 2 I played an Ember, which I think is a pretty good matchup because of Gargoyle, because of mostly Pheonix. I mean, they don't have a really good answer to Pheonix here. They cripple him, it's just a time bomb, and it'll come back when you Supernova. If they bash him in, well, they usually can't kill both halves in a turn. That's pretty good, but that Ember ran Retreat, which I hadn't seen in a long while, and it completely out-tempoed me, and you know, I couldn't keep up with her. Like she built a board that was too strong, and then when I was in a position that I could not Supernova because she would just bash my face in. Round 3, I had another terrible matchup. It was an attachment crazy Zana with what's it called? Sacred Firewalker, which gives immunity to fire damage. So this is fire damage, Supernova, and Fireball of fire damage, and then He put that on Fortified Wisps and Armored Sandworms, so I had no chance. But I mean, nobody prepared for that matchup, so just a bit of random matchmaking there. And then round 4, I finally played Zaladar, crushed him in two quick games. And round 5, I also played the Zaladar. I think at this point I was already eliminated, but we still played. I won, and it was 3 very good games against Alpha Predator Xavier, and well, at least 2 very good games, the first 2. In all 3 games he used Soul Reaper to heal back from the brink of death to full health. Game 1 I managed to kill him. Game 2 he had a very early Dagger of Fate, and he managed to keep my board clear. Then it was very tight, then he Soul Reaped, and then he squeaked in the last damage, but I got him down to very low life once again. And game 3, I was going second, and I had a great opener. And then he played Harbinger and flipped over a Reactorary, and at that point I couldn't do anything. Like bit of luck there. I mean, Zaladar isn't an auto win, but it's definitely a decent matchup. And so yeah, I ended up losing 3 times, but against a tech I did not see coming, and a random rogue deck. So I'm still confident that was a good choice, given the field that showed up. But yeah, so that's Gravebone. I'll go try to get some nice games to show you guys. See you soon.